Hey there, and welcome back to Easy IT by SJ. And today we are going to learn a CSS. We are beginning our CSS tutorial. And before we start, let's understand what is CSS. CSS is a language you use to style an HTML document. CSS describes how an HTML element should be displayed. Alright, so there is three ways that we can write a CSS styling: the internal, inline, and also the external. The last one is the best practice and also is the best one to write the CSS styling, because it is better to write your styling separately from your HTML file. Because if you write all the codes in one HTML file, it will be messy. If your project will grow to a bigger one, it will be messy and it will be hard to understand your code. Alright, so let's take an example of internal styling. For example, let's build a div tag which has a span tag in it. A span, and in a span tag we have some random text. Alright, let's save this and go ahead and check. So here it is, our random text. It has no color and no styling. Let's add some styling to it. So let's add the inline styling. Okay, so for inline styling we are going to use a style attribute which will get the parameter. For example, if we want to change the color, it will get the color parameter and also the value of the parameter. It will be a blue. So for colors, we have three ways to give the color value in CSS. The first one is the color name. The second one is with the hexadecimal is the color name with the hexadecimal values, and for that we will need to put the hashtag and the hexadecimal values. For example, FFF will stand for white color, 000 will stand for black color, and also there are a lot of tags. And the third option is RGB, and it will get the three numbered parameters which will have three numbers in each of them. So for example, one, two, three, this will not work because I am writing something like randomly. Oh, it worked. So in 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, we have a gray color, something like gray. And if we want this color to have opacity, to be darker or to be less darker, lighter, I don't know how to say that, we need to add the fourth parameter here, which is the opacity. If we write a value 1, it will be by default no opacity here. We also need to add the parameter A for opacity. If we want to see the opacity, we need to put 0. For example, 99. This will be more darker than lighter. If we put 0.5, it will be it will has more opacity, and 0.1 it will be hard to see the color. Okay, so for now let's stick with the names, with the color names. Alright, so let's save this, go ahead and check it here. As you can see, it got the red color here. Okay, so if we want also to add some background, we need to give same the style attribute to the div and background color. For example, let's give a background color of blue. So let's go at save and refresh this, and as you can see, it has the red colored text and also blue colored background. And you can see here there is a gap between the div and also between the div and the browser. We will fix this in a few minutes, but now let's learn about the styling types. So now we are going to learn the internal styling. So for internal styling, we need to put the style tag and write some style in it. For example, color and red. But this will not work. So why it is not working? Here is where the selectors are coming, and they are handy for this one. So what is selector? A selector selects the HTML elements you want to style. Selectors are used to find or select the HTML elements. We can divide the selectors into 5 categories. Simple selectors that we are now looking, element based on name. We can give a selector, for example, for a span we can write the tag name here, and it will be selected with the ID and with the class about which we are going to speak in a few minutes. Combinational selectors select element based on specific relationship between them, like parent and child. And also attribute select element based on attribute or attribute value. Alright, so let's go ahead and see the first one. Let's select this with the tag. So if we write here a span after the name we need to put the curly brackets, and in curly brackets we need to put the styling. Also, I forget to tell you that there is a hierarchy in a styling. The inline styling is in the highest position of the hierarchy, and after the inline styling it is the internal styling, and the external styling is in the last place of hierarchy. Also with the same with the selectors, those with the ID will be the highest place in a hierarchy, and those with the class name will be after the IDs. So let's change the color here, and let's see what will be the actual color of our text. Now let's go ahead and refresh. As you can see, we have changed the inline styling here, and it saved the color of inline style. Let's remove this for now. Let's save this, refresh, and now our internal styling is working. Alright, let's go ahead and add the ID. So let's select the element by ID. So let's give this a color red. Let's take this and to tell the browser that this is the name of our ID, we need to put the hashtag, and after hashtag we need to write the name. And let's go ahead and refresh our page. It remained the same because let's change the color. Green. Let's go ahead, refresh and see. As you can see, the text changed to green. Let's add also a class name. Let's add a class name, for example, color yellow. Alright, so let's copy paste this here. Okay, so for IDs we need to put the hashtag, and for class name we need to put a dot so it will understand that what we are going to write is the class name. And in curly brackets we need to write the property and also the value. Let's find the yellow color and see. Now as you can see, I have the ID here and also the color. So let's refresh and see. As you can see, it remained the same because, as I already told you, the ID is in a higher hierarchy than the class name. But why do we need this much of selectors? Why we can't use only ID or only class name? So what is the problem with the ID, or why is class name better? So if we want, for example, we have 5 span tags and we want 3 of them to have a color of green. We can't give each one of them a color green because the ID name should be unique for each element. You can't give the same ID name to other elements on the same HTML document. They need to be unique. So for that, there is where the CSS class names are handy. So if we remove the ID, save this and refresh, we will see that our class now will work. If we add few more span tags with the same class name, it will work for all of them, as you can see here. And let me add this ID to 2 of them, and you will see that this will throw an error. Maybe their editor doesn't work. Yeah, they have changed, but this is the wrong way to write. They need to be a unique. In the future lessons, when we will learn the GS, you will understand this more. Now maybe they have changed something, but then when I have learned, it was unique and it was throwing an error. Now they removed it, maybe. Okay, we have talked about the class. Yeah, also I want to tell you about how to choose the class name and how to choose the IDs or the selectors, names for the selectors. So the names for the selectors need to be more meaningful. Like you can't write a color red as I did here and put a color property in the value for the green color. This will work. As you can see in our examples, it works, but it is not the best practice, and if you have a big project, it will be a little bit messy to see what style is written for what. So it is the best practice to write the style, the class names or the IDs that describe your styling. So just remember this. Alright, so we have spoke about internal styling, about inline styling, and also about the internal styling. So now it is the turn to speak about the external styling and why it is more preferred, you will see. Okay, let's open our terminal and write touch style CSS. Okay, let's open this and take this from here and pass this here. Let's save both of them. Let's remove this style tags here. And yeah, also I forget to tell you that you always need to write your stylings if you prefer to write an internal style, you need to write the stylings in the head tag. So let's remove this. Let's put the 5th lesson. Okay, so let's see if this will work or no. This will not work. And why? Because the HTML file have no idea from where it should read our class names, our styles. So we need a way to connect them. So for that we are going to use a link tag in our head, and it will get the 2 attributes. The first one is rel, which will describe what kind of file we are going to attach to our index.html. So it will be style sheet, and we need also to describe the location. So it will be href and also the file name style.css. Alright, so let's go ahead and refresh and see. Now it works. As I mentioned before, we are going to fix this, and for this one we are going to write there is also another selector which is asterisk. I am not sure if I pronounced the name right. If I'm wrong, please write the right name below in comments. So asterisk is for a global if we write some style here, it will work on all of our elements. So let's, for example, write for fixing this one, let's write a margin 0 and a padding 0. Now I will explain what are these for. And also we can select all the elements by using the body tag. The body is, as you remember, the parent of all our tags that are displayed in our window. Okay, in our browser. Let's go ahead, refresh and see. So as you can see, we have fixed the gap here, the space. So let's speak about each one of them separately. What is margin and what is padding? So padding is used to create a space around an element's content inside of any defined border. For example, I I forget to close it here. For example, if let's add some padding here. Let's add a class name padding 10. Let's open our curly brackets and write padding. Yeah, we are also going to speak about the measurements. There are few measurement types here, but the main used measurements are pixels, which are right in px. The next one is em, and also the percentage, and also vh. But the most used one are pixels and percentage, and also in some places em too. There are a lot of other measurements like which stands for millimeters, but I haven't seen in my projects or in other projects or something like that. Alright, so let's give this value of 10 pixels. Let's refresh and see what we got here. Oh, I have forget to add this to our, let's give this style to our this class name to our div tag. Oh, I forget. Let's save this, go ahead, refresh, and as you can see, it has created a space between our element, between our span tag, and between our div, the parent of our span tag. It gets 10, 10, just because the div is block element. You can see the padding from the right because it takes all the width of our browser. Alright, so you are seeing that it get the gap here. So padding can get from 1 to up to 4 values. Let's write 10 pixels, 10 pixels, and also 10 pixels. I will describe now for what they are for. This one is for padding top. This one is for padding right. This one is for padding bottom, and this one is for padding left. If we write only 3 of them, this will be for padding top, this will be for padding bottom, and this one will be for padding right and left. Let's let only 2 values. This one will be for padding top and bottom, and this one will be for padding left and right. Also, you can write the properties separately. You can write a padding left, padding right, padding top, padding bottom, and also these other padding properties. But now we are going to use this one. Okay, so we have actually changed nothing, and if there is only a 1 value here, it will be for 4 directions. Okay, so let's also add a margin here. So what is margin? Margins are used to create a space around elements outside of any defined border. So if we write, for example, padding margin 10, this will be our class name, and in our curly brackets, let's add the margin. As for padding, the same is with the margin. It can get top, bottom, left, right, and with the same values as 4 numbers, 2 numbers, and 3 numbers. Alright, let's add margin 10 pixels and let's see what we got here. Oh, I forget to add this to our element. Let's add this to our div class, div tag. Let's save this, go ahead and refresh. As I have, oh, my mistake. As you can see, it got the space between div and other elements, but because there is no other element here, it get the 10 pixel space from the browser. Alright, so the percentage, we can see percentage with the width, set a percentage with the width, height, for other properties. Yeah, for margin and the padding, they are also useful, that you can use them, but in margin and padding, in my working experience, I have seen more of using pixel than percentage. Okay, and also I forget to tell you that the code reader in a browser reads the code from top to bottom, and if you write a class yellow here, and in somehow you, in for example in 100 or 112 line, you decided to you forget that you already have this class name and you use this class name for different purposes, it will not count this one, and it will put this one as the class name. Okay, so for that, be sure that you not use the same element, the same class name in other places, because it will be rewritten. If you want to this color to remain always the same and not be overwritten, you need to put the property to it of important. This will show the browser that this value of this class name is constant. It cannot be changed. This is useful if other people are working on the same page, on the same project. All right. So let's see what is left here in this lesson about CSS. I think that's it for today, and today we have learned inline, internal, and also external stylings. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, put the thumbs up, and also hit the bell button to be notified in the future when my lessons will come up. Alright.